welcome to the show.
This guy got a mistletoe belt on.
Gosh, that is bad.
The whole plane smells like weed.
Those were the days. It's a joke, you idiot.
Looked in the mirror, I'm like,
Good old innocent fun.
we're rolling. Welcome.
You're in. Ooh,
What a beautiful day with the low. I like the mic kind of on the table
The
like this.
boys are back
And
for
it's outta here.
Solo pod, baby.
Hold on. Gone. Yo,
Dude,
what's
well,
up?
we were supposed to. This is great, dude. Thanks for squeezing it in. For those people who don't know, this is coming out after the Pavone episode that you were supposed to be here morning of.
2 hours late.
2 hours late, dude.
Dude, I remember why I left, why I have to be in Manhattan. Dude, I don't know what's up. The MTA hates every borough but Manhattan. You can't get on a train ever. It's always some bullshit.
The story is not bad, but
You say that, but you don't come here every day.
I'm just here. Yeah, I don't leave every day.
It's always some bullshit, dude. It'll be like, train. We're ending now, and it's like we're 4 stops away. It's like Queens isn't like a 83rd Street stop.
Did you have that on the NW coming out here?
Yeah, the NW, I show up, it's 28 minutes. So I'm like, I'll just walk to 57th. I'm like, the only thing coming, the R's at 1 minute, 3 minutes, 6 minutes. I'm like, the one train I can't take, the N, something's up with the N. So the W came, but.
Yeah, they do that shit, dude. They'll just, in the middle of the day, they'll be like, okay, we're not going to the end anymore. We're just going to stop here.
If you noticed, I try not to come here on weekends anymore.
Yeah, it's tough.
The end on a weekend. I used to live out here, actually, back in the day.
It's nice.
I had 2 months out here. The food's great. Little bit price. I mean, the food here is twice the price of the food anywhere else.
No way.
The meals are like $28 when you get off the train on Astoria.
Maybe a little bit, dude.
This shit's, they know their clientele out here. I mean, I'm sure there's people that could probably get an apartment out here for cheap, but then they see the price of the food. Like
yeah, my apartment's not bad, but I don't want to tell people because I don't want people trying to tell my landlord she should jack the rent up.
But what's your food prices like?
Oh, I mean, disgusting.
Right.
I told you, I just went through my taxes. This is very late. I'm on extension. But I went through all my expenses and deductions yesterday. Dude, it took me like 5 hours.
What, for the whole year?
Yeah, 2024.
You have a business credit card?
No.
Oh, so you just go through all your accounts?
I literally went through. I have 2 credit cards and a debit card plus Venmo.
This year, are you going to just transfer it to one card?
You know what I want to do? I want to open up like a business like Dylan Krasinski Comedy LLC or something so that I can get paid into that account. And then at the end of the year, anything I use, like if I go out with comedians, networking, if I go to a club,
I need to do the same
I'm buying food at a club, like all of that automatically, I go, all of this is good. But you know what I did at the end? I was like, I finally like outlined it all. This is incredibly boring, I know, but I outlined it all. And I was like, I got to add up these numbers. Dude, it was like 15 pages. It was like crazy. Think about that. Like 12 months times 3 cards plus Venmo. And dude, I copied and pasted it all into ChatGPT. And I was like, can you organize this into the sections that I have it and add up the totals?
And it did it?
10 seconds.
Dude, it blows me away.
10 seconds.
I forget what chat could do.
It was great. And then I go, now add all those totals together. And it was like,
I'm always asking chat, how can I trick hot girls into liking me? What's another way? It's like, you don't want to trick them. You want to be honest with them.
I've also, I'm trying to write off, crazy stuff. That bike, I'm going to try to write that off.
Oh, you have to. What was that thing, $3,000?
No, it was $1,000.
I'm so behind. I don't even want to discuss my taxes, my financial situation. I will discuss the food, though. Living in Manhattan should be a damn discount for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, that would be the price of an office.
Well, dude, if Zoran gets elected, Zarin? Yeah. Don't mess with the Zohan.
I thought he did get elected.
No, he just won the Democratic primary.
Well, I was wondering, since I go to Ohio a lot, I did this 1 year. I was living in Ohio and working in Ohio too. Yeah. And I was working here. Like, you have to have a certain amount of days you work in Ohio or whatever.
It's like more than half.
I went back twice in the year. So
I don't think that counts.
No, it worked. I had a major discount from I went back for 6 months one time.
Oh, if you're there.
5 months and 2 months. Yeah, it was I was working. I was washing cars there. I made barely any money. But the tax write-offs, all the benefits you get when you do that.
Yeah.
Ohio's a 6-hour drive. It's not really hard honestly, you don't even need to go there to make it look like you're making money. You just need to know business owners in Ohio. Like,
Yeah.
So people would think you're traveling back and forth. You know, I don't know. There's so many ways to cheat the system now.
Yeah, dude, I got my taxes. Can I tell you this? The lady called me. I have someone do my taxes, and dude, she called me. This is like months ago, and she was like, "Okay, so you're gonna owe 17 grand to the federal government and 5 grand to the New York State." And I was like, what the fuck?
Impossible.
And she goes, so do you have like a debit card that we can put that on right now? I was like, debit card?
Wow.
I was like, I got like 2 grand in my bank account right now. What
and
do you
how would
mean?
you owe that? I mean, you making $200K a year?
No, not that. But I haven't paid taxes all year.
But that's really what you owe, 20 grand?
But that was without deductions and write-offs. And
How'd you
everything.
save it on your own, though?
What do you mean?
What do you owe now? Make
I don't
me
know.
nervous.
I sent it to her, and she's going to send it back to me. I mean, you got to think like 1/3 of what you make.
Dude, it's so crazy to think that they really pay attention to that strict.
Yeah, like 1/3 of what you make.
I'm probably going to be on payment for. I haven't paid taxes in 2 years, dude.
Yeah, that's not good, dude.
I'm so fucked. Well, I really haven't paid in 4 years, but 2 of those years I made no money at all.
You still got to file.
Yeah, but I don't know. I made nothing to file.
Yeah, but then you say like I'm filing nothing. Taxes are so dumb, dude. Like they know what we owe,
right?
But they make us figure it out.
And it's like,
but they know exactly what it is.
A certain level, like a lot of years I made $7,000. So it's like I don't think people are really coming at me like that. You know, like it's like even my best year on paper, I think I made 23 grand. So
were we talking about this? There are comics we know that are on like food stamps and they don't talk about it, but like I know a bunch that you think are doing good.
Yeah.
They're like working the system. They're on food stamps. They're getting money from the government. Like,
you know, it's
to
so
do
funny
stand-up.
when you say they think you're doing good. It's like people think people with followers are doing good. They really do.
Doesn't translate
they see
always.
you touring a little bit. They don't realize.
You're crushing it.
I'm making $500 to fly to Wisconsin. Okay.
Yeah,
like,
the ticket was $600.
yeah.
What do you mean?
They're not covering the hotel. I got 30% off the chicken wings.
Yeah, they don't even include a meal at a lot of these places.
The
They
amount
go,
of
we'll
people
give you a
that-
discount.
People that hit me up for money is crazy. Like I couldn't imagine some of these guys how much they get asked for money. Like when it's on paper record, how much money they make.
Oh, dude. I mean, think about like athletes, musicians.
Yeah.
Every time they, like an athlete, dude, makes it to the NFL, and then they go like 2 years. It was that whole like going bankrupt within like 2 years of being in a professional sports league. There was a whole ESPN like documentary. They did the 30 for 30 on it of bankruptcy, dude.
Yeah, people think you get some bread. Yeah,
Dude, they
dude.
go through the numbers and they're like, hey, why are you paying the phone bills for 30 people who grew up on your block? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, dude, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to always be like, look, man, I don't got it. A comedian told me a long time ago, I forgot who, he was an older comic, at the Cellar, like when I first moved to the city, bro.
Yeah.
He's like, I could tell you're broke. He was laughing. He's telling me, he's like, bro, look, you got holes in your pants. He was like, your boots look like they're blooming. My boots were falling apart.
Blooming
right?
is such a funny word, dude.
And he's roasting me and shit. He's like, be honest, when's the last time you didn't cut your own hair? You know, and shit like that. And he's roasting me, but he's roasting all of us being funny, you know. And then he's like, let me tell you something. He goes, a lot of comics, what happens is, about you in about 15 years, maybe 20 years, one of you guys is going to get a big check. He's like, you might get like a couple 100,000, couple million.
Yeah.
He goes, I've seen it so many times. And they always fuck the money up.
Yeah.
He's like, even me. He's like, you can't. He's like, you might get one check for $1 million now. And then you might be 65 years old when you get your next check. He's like, you never know. He's like, you got to put that shit away. And I don't think I'm ever going to forget that.
No.
Like right now I'm making a couple grand here and there. It's like, I can't even afford to put this shit away.
Yeah, you gotta, if you get like $1 million, dude, that's like you hire a financial advisor.
Yeah.
And they're going to put it, you talk to them and they're going to put it in low risk stocks.
Yeah.
In the market. And you're going to get, even 3%.
I'd probably do
is
it like,
great.
I'd probably try to put half in like a high yield savings account just in case or something. And then maybe like 25% of it in S&P stocks or something. Let that
Look at you,
ride
dude.
out.
Fucking, you know what you're talking about.
I do a little bit. Maybe getting some real estate.
and getting some crypto.
I know one comic, I don't want to say his name, makes 50 grand. I think you know who I'm talking about. And he's not even a household name. That's what's funny. He's not famous at all.
Yeah.
He makes 50 grand on Facebook for it has nothing to do with comedy.
A month?
Yeah,
that's
and it's
great.
not even comedy that he's doing.
What is he doing?
50 G's a month. I can't say what he does because
It'll be obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50 G's a month, man.
But it's Facebook. Like you could be on there giving advice. Like
You could be doing anything. It's, 50 G's a month. And either way, he invested. He's like owns apartment buildings everywhere.
Dude,
He's
yeah.
doing all this shit. He owns like a Raising Cane's chicken place. He's like,
oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah, man.
That's unbelievable.
But you think
if you
50
can get
G's a month.
apartment buildings, dude, that's the money.
His shit's all over the Midwest. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy here.
He was
I'd buy
talking
Long
to me.
Island.
Yeah, he's like, I just got a sixplex. He's like, he didn't even see it. He's like, I got somebody remodeling it. And he's not even going there. I'm like, dude, I can't believe that's what got me on Facebook was this dude.
Yeah.
And I see how it's possible.
Yeah, dude. Definitely. There's so much money to be had. You can definitely take advantage of it.
We'll see what happens, man. I don't know. I'm so tight with my money, I wouldn't want to give it up. That's my thing. Like when people go put this in S&P stock, I'd be like, oh, man, or like buy an apartment building. It's hard to go backwards on real estate. Like buying a house. I tried doing this once. I had a cheap house property.
Yeah.
It was on like a $20,000 house. I lost money on it. Like
To
even
flip?
with that small of an investment. No, just to rent it out.
Yeah,
You
the
can't get
renting it is
Dude,
tough,
Even
dude.
people with good credit, they still won't pay.
Well, there are ways now you can do it too with like the Section 8. You
Oh,
you
yeah,
can get
yeah.
a shit building, which is kind of unfortunate, in terms of people living, you
Yeah.
can get a shit building and the government pays you to house people basically, which
Maybe
is
that'll be the route.
good for you, but also kind of shitty for people. And also like a lot of time I've heard horror stories about like some of those units where it's just people trash them. Like if you have to evict someone eventually because say like, they're doing some shit or the payments stop kind
Right.
of thing. Section 8's like, no, we're not doing it anymore. And now you got to be like, fuck, well, these people aren't paying. Dude, I heard one story where it's like people just shit everywhere. Like, dude, rubbed it on the walls, shit in the drawers. Like, must have been collecting
Yeah, they were upset
human
at the
crap
landlord on
for
that.
weeks, dude.
The place that I had, they just left and never said anything. And it's hard to kick people out of legally. It's really hard to kick people out. So what you do normally is you move somebody else in and have them act crazy. Like say you own a place and you can't get rid of somebody. The best way is have some psycho move in there, like a real lunatic.
Dude, I've seen there's a guy who like to get squatters out.
Yeah.
There's a guy on the internet who had this whole thing. It was like ongoing for months, dude.
Yeah.
Where the squatter was living in the apartment that his cousin owned. So his cousin wrote him a lease to also live in the apartment.
Yeah.
And he was like, I have a lease from the owner. And he would do crazy shit, dude. Like walk around the apartment naked, have like a DJ party by himself.
Yeah.
At 3 a.m. We're like nuts.
Dude, I know guys that do it. I know guys that do the opposite. I don't know if I ever told you this story on the pod, but the dude that's a professional squatter. Did I ever tell you this story?
No.
Yeah,
Dude, I hate squatters.
this dude's a ticket seller for all the comedy clubs, right? That's like his during the day. That's how he gets a little bit of money to eat, get by, buy his drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And what he does is he's a white dude that's been in prison forever, and he could code switch. He could instantly be so professional. It's crazy.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
How are you doing, officer?
And he told me he learned that. He said, yeah, I had a job in sales. And he goes, I just learned I'm always been a good mimic. Most of those street dudes are like good actors. And he goes, so I'd act just like all the people in the sales job. Well, today we're going to do some financing with these and see what's available. And he switches it so quick. And he's like, but I'm a real prison dude and shit like that. I rob motherfuckers out here. That's how he talks for real.
Jesus.
So he says what he'll do is he'll move into a place. He finds places, and honestly, a lot out here in like Astoria and stuff.
Damn.
And he goes to the Chinese people. He said because they're illegal, like a lot of things that they do is illegal. You know?
Yeah.
So he goes. He's from New York. He's like, I know how they roll and shit. He's like, I go in there and I act all white and gay, and for real. He says he calls one of his hood dudes to pretend it's his dad
Yeah.
on speaker. And he goes, I get these Chinese people begging me. He goes, and you'll pay all the rent, daddy? And he's like, son, well, I'll pay the rent, but you got to finish law school. And they're doing all this
my
stuff.
God.
No parties. Let me talk to the lady. He's not allowed nobody over. Dude, he gets in the building,
Never leaves.
starts acting crazy, gets everybody to move out, right? Now he's the only one in the building.
Yeah.
He told me he had to fight. He's like, you know how many Chinese people I fought in my life? That's what he tells me. He goes, they will throw. He's like, don't think a Chinese person. They may be quiet and timid. And this dude's telling me this all the time. We're always hanging outside of LOL. He'd come chill there, you know? And
That's insane.
yeah, dude. So he's telling me he does it until they pay him to move out. He goes, they will pay you $10,000. He goes, once everybody moves out, he goes, say you move in an apartment like 2 floors and the Chinese people live downstairs and there's 2 apartments upstairs with maybe 3 people in each apartment. He goes, that's 5 people paying rent that I got to move out.
Oh,
He
my
goes, because you know,
God.
these buildings, you start talking about how you're a gangbanger and you rob people. He goes, these people will move right out. They don't want no problems.
Whoa.
He's like, you start getting loud at night and eating their food and breaking shit. He's like, they'll just move out. And he goes, then these Chinese people really want to get you out because now they're
Holy
not making
shit,
any money.
dude.
And he's like, they'll pay you 10 grand. He's like, I do it. He's like, right now I'm doing 3 buildings. He goes from building to building.
Wow.
He's like, yeah, I got one. And he does a lot of Queens and stuff.
That is horrible.
Yep.
Dude, I almost moved into a place like that when I was moving back into the city after COVID.
Yeah.
And Kerrigan was like, oh, I got a room open,
Yeah,
dude.
I remember that place.
I went and looked at it and I was like, buddy, I would never. We went in the kitchen. We talked about this like early
Yeah.
episodes, dude. But I went in the kitchen and it's like a hot plate. There wasn't even a stove.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude,
And then there was that big
I'm a lawyer,
copper
man.
water.
I can't live here.
Remember that big copper? You ever see that big copper water jug Kerrigan had?
Oh.
And you pray before it like it's one of those India. It's like an India water jug that you pray. You bless
Yeah.
the water.
Oh my
He would
God.
be doing
dude.
that. Meanwhile, there's somebody smoking crack on his couch.
Dude, it was crazy.
There was a legit crackhead there that was dating a girl with no legs. And dude, they'd have to carry him up the steps and
Oh
stuff.
my God. Dude, also, like you said, the landlord was there downstairs.
Yeah.
And as soon as I pulled up, I think I was driving my brother's car into
Yeah.
the city. And he probably saw an Audi and was like, yeah, whenever you want to move in, you can move in. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to check it out. And I never fucking got back to him.
I remember Mike telling me, he goes, yeah, my landlord's just in my apartment all the time. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's like, I started walking around in my underwear. As soon as I see him, I take my fucking pants off.
Dude, he used to tell me stories. He's told them on the pod too, like early on. The one that killed me, man, was when he was like, yeah, I was with my landlord and he's showing me the basement to like reset the water heater, and there's just a guy living in the basement. Living in the basement. He brings me down there. There's no doors on the bathroom. The guy's taking a shit.
Wow.
He's taking a shit in the apartment. And I was like, oh, are we supposed to be here? And the guy goes, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Come on in. Dude, I was crying when he
Even
told me that.
before Mike lived there, that place was a shit show. It used to be Tim. Remember Tim?
Sternavan?
No, Tim. He did Kill Tony. He got the real deep voice. He's a little dude.
No, I don't know.
He'll be like, yeah, well, what you got to do with comedy? You ever meet that dude? I'll think of his name. Tim something. I don't know. He was on Kill Tony talking about living in his car. Completely ate shit on Kill Tony.
Really?
And then they're like, bro, you know, that was terrible. What's going on? He's like, well, I live in my car. It's got so-and-so miles. He's hilarious in that
In the
riffing.
interview, yeah.
Dude, the interview, he destroyed it. Rogan was on.
Yeah.
Rogan's like, bro, that's the type of shit you got to talk about. I don't know what happened with Tim. Tim was one of those dudes that, you know, every time I see him, he'd ask me for money or beer. He'd be like, can you just buy me a beer? Give me $2 towards a beer. So then, you know, one day I hit him up for a mutual friend's phone number that I lost. After this dude, I pretty much supported this dude's beer habit for 6 years. Open mics, everything. And he goes, well, the fact that I didn't hear from you for like 4 months and you asked for a phone number, fuck you. And he blocks me on everything. He's like, you know, I have a Patreon you never put money towards.
Oh, my
I'm like, dude,
God,
I supported you for 6 years like you were my son.
Yeah. I've been giving you money, dude.
So I look up this dude's Patreon. There's 2 fucking people on there.
Oh, my, he's making making $10 a month.
He's in front of like an American flag. Come on, guys. I'm going to be homeless. I need $3. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this?
Dude.
But that's who was living there before Kerrigan. Him and Mike Guild. Remember, I used to go hang with Mike Guild. Mike Guild was another
This is
comic.
before I moved here, I think.
Yeah, Guild was a funny comic. And yeah, I used to chill with him. And that house was a shit show then.
Jesus,
They'd be like, oh, wait, not that couch. Our buddy, he's renting that couch for the month.
Dude, yeah, when I went in to look, dude, there was a guy just laying on the couch. I was like, hey, how's it going? And Kerrigan's like, oh, that's his room.
Yeah.
I was like, what? That's
Dude,
the living room. What do you mean that's his room?
There was like 4 bedrooms and a back porch there and a couch. 6 roommates.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being a girl and going over there?
You would never, dude. Ever.
Yeah, I ran into somebody that lived there. I miss Mike, man. I really
Me too,
do. I hope
man.
He's watching the pod.
I know. I hope he's checking in. This
Yeah.
is the whole Kerrigan episode,
Yeah,
dude.
this is dedicated to Mike. We love you, Mike.
For our OG listeners, they know Kerrigan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
dude.
it is what it
Well, you
is.
said what? He lives in Astoria, apparently.
No, I actually talked to the guy, and my buddy told me he moved.
Yeah, I
he
thought he was
left.
back in Massachusetts, but
He
I have no
probably
idea.
is. My buddy, I ran into my buddy at the shop, and he said he moved.
Damn, dude.
I got offered a gig at the shop, but not through the guy. I don't know if I'm going to
Like
do
a
it.
produce show?
It's that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about the guy, Mikey from Old Man Hustle.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if
yeah.
We should be shouting him out. He's been putting on some
Yeah,
great
that's fine.
shows, man. I was late on the one. I feel bad. I mean, I was left on stage at a club. I couldn't do nothing about it.
Dude, you late?
I was doing a comedy club. This is the thing about New York that sucks. I was doing a club. There should be some sort of rule only in New York that it's like, hey, you have to get me off stage in 10 minutes. If I'm set to do a 10-minute spot,
Yeah.
it's not that I don't want to do the time. It's if you
I got
dude,
other plans. I got
30 minutes I was left on stage.
You
I'm
kidding
getting
me?
waitresses. Somebody got to get me. I guess there was a problem with the checks. At that point, I'm like, dude, I don't know. Comedians, are we allowed to walk off stage in that situation?
Are you last?
Yeah.
Or were you doing the check
I was
spot?
headlining it.
were
But still,
headlining.
it's like everybody knew I had to go.
Yeah, no, you got to be like, all right, guys, that's it for me. See you later.
Bring the host back up. I think that's the point of a host.
Yeah, to kind of kill time, do
It's
the
like,
check spot.
I get it. We want to end strong, but I don't want to end my career strong.
Yeah, dude, and I'm not saying you got to be a dick about it, but like when you're headlining, you can act like a headliner. Like
Yeah.
I'm here to do an hour. You're paying me for an hour.
Right.
You know, the same way I'm not going to go under my time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go over my time
And
unless
this
I
was a
want
New
to,
York
and you're
club.
okay with it. You
This
know?
was a New York club, 10-minute spot. Everybody's doing 10, and I just had to go 25 streets up for my next spot.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like even trying to Uber there. They're like, bro, Mikey told me, he's like, unless you could exactly walk in here in like 7 minutes, there's no way.
Yeah,
I'm
that
like, dude, it's
sucks.
going to take me 25 minutes. Like,
That
waiting on
blows,
the Uber.
dude.
But I was on stage like, yo, I got to be able to walk off. I never had it happen to where you have to walk off. I seen it once I was hosting. You know how some comedians have like the aura. They might have a couple things going on, but they just
Yeah.
have the aura. I don't got that aura. Like I've seen it to where a comic did it. He's like, hey man, I'm sorry. I told you I got to go. I got another spot. And he walked off. The stage was empty. The owner came on stage.
Oh my God, dude, the owner.
Yep.
That's hilarious. And he's like, comedy guys, thanks so much for coming.
It's like, I guess I was hosting. I was outside. The owner kept saying, you know how LOL is. The owner.
Oh.
Dude, LOL, there's times at LOL where I did an hour and a half at the end of the show.
I've heard the horror
and
stories
I did an
about
hour
that,
at the
dude.
beginning of the show. It's like, dude, this show's been going on for 5 hours. There were shows that started at 8 o'clock sometimes that would end at midnight at LOL. Or the same opposite. They're supposed to start at midnight. They start at like 1 and they end at 4 in the morning. It's crazy.
Jesus, dude. That's just not good for anybody. At that point, man, like you also want to walk out into Times Square at 4 in the morning.
Right.
That's a nightmare situation.
Yeah. It was a comedy boot camp for sure, but anymore I'm wondering,
Yeah.
it's like, how much do you get out of doing those shows? Like now that I'm
Nothing. I mean, the time.
Yeah,
you
but
get
what
to
type
work
of
your ass
benefit
off.
do you get working your ass off at 3 in the morning? It's like,
I mean, I think there's definitely a benefit.
To
I
get
think
good
it's
at a
like a
bad
bell
show.
curve. Yeah, like
that.
being able to, dude, once you've been doing comedy long enough, like everybody can kill at a hot show.
right.
You know, if you can't kill at a hot show after like 5 years of comedy, you're the issue. You
But
know?
do you think there's a certain point, like, I don't want to work the muscle of bad shows because I don't want to do bad shows.
I know, but if you can kill at a bad show, then every now and then you might have a bad crowd that you can turn because now your muscle is strong.
You know, the way I kill at a bad show is very lowbrow shit that I wouldn't be proud of. Like, I remember I seen...
Anything you can do, you know?
I seen one comic one time, though. He's like, yo, this crowd's too rowdy. I could do good here, but I don't want to do that type of material.
Yeah.
And he was like, so, you know, let's get the host back up here. And this was at, like, the Stand, the old Stand back in the day. When the Stand used to have, like... Louis C.K. there every night and people watching you. Because these older comics, like guys like when these big guys watch you, like I've had somebody pop in on me on a late show just last night. And it's like a midnight show. I think I went up at like 1 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. Or it was an 11 o'clock show that I was closing. I had to go in the gutter, dude. The host opens up with period blood jokes.
Oh,
like
my God.
every comedian's nasty, dick out, fucking nuts, everything, asshole at the and then you go up after hours of that. It's like now I have to do a big dick joke in front of like an established comedian. I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah.
Like
You feel hacky.
I feel hacky,
dude. You know who's been showing up at the Stand and popping around New York City?
Adam Sandler,
the Sandman.
I met him once, dude. So nice,
dude. I mean. If there is one person, celebrity, alive or dead, that I could meet and hang out with, Sandler has got to be number one.
He would have to be.
I think, like...
For me, it's still Eddie Murphy, even if he is racist. I feel like he doesn't like white guys, but...
Dude, for me, it's Sandler. Like, so easy. Sandler, Bert Kreischer.
Oh, yeah. Well, Bert's your buddy.
David Spade.
Like
those are probably like the top 3 dudes that would be so fun to hang out with.
Yeah, I'd like to hang out with Adam. I just feel like Eddie Murphy would just be next level hilarious to sit and bullshit with.
Yeah, probably. Who has the story? Is the story about Eddie Murphy? Were we talking about this or did I see it on a?
I met Charlie Murphy once at Stand Up New York.
I might have seen it in like an interview or someone talking about the first time they hung out with Eddie Murphy, and now I can't remember if it was Tracy Morgan.
Oh wow,
it was Tracy Morgan. Someone talking about hanging out with Tracy Morgan, and like him like getting into a fight and like walking out on a bill. It actually might have been Kreischer talking about it on a pod, but like so funny, dude.
Damn, I had an Eddie Murphy story. What was it that I heard I wanted to share? Maybe it wasn't Eddie Murphy. I don't know. Oh yeah, I know a guy that worked. This guy worked with Eddie Murphy in Long Island. He lived in Long Island too. So Eddie was 16 wearing a suit. And this guy goes, yo, why are you wearing a suit? You're a young kid. He was a little older than him. My buddy that's still a comedian on cruise ships. And Eddie Murphy told him, he goes, yo, to get to where you want to go, you want to dress to where you're going to be or something like that, you know? So even back then, Eddie knew he was like becoming famous. And you know what's crazy? The story about Eddie Murphy is like when he was 16, he sucked. Like from 16 to 19, he went from being terrible to being the #1 comedian in the world.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
Dude, when you start young, like a lot of people, like you'll meet comics today who are like, oh, I'm 25, I've been doing comedy since I was 16. And they're either really good or really fucking bad.
Yeah.
You know? There is like, if you could start young like that, I mean, Chappelle, Pete Davidson, all guys who started really young. But sometimes it's not good. You start too young, and then you form bad habits when you're young, and you never get past it. Or you don't have the right mentors. You know, people don't take you under their wing.
You know what I think happened with a lot of my friends when I first moved to the city. A lot of my friends peaked off potential. And now it's like their time's gone. It's been 10 years now since they did anything.
Yeah, that's
But it's
crazy.
like their first 3 years, they had everything.
I know dudes you're talking about.
Bro, they were getting offered everything. Mm-hmm. And then now it's like...
JFL, fresh faces, new faces.
You see everything. SNL auditions. Dude, Daily Show auditions. And you're
nothing.
Like, how the fuck did you get that? 10 years of nothing.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, people buy into potential, but then... You know, that potential don't always sell. I think there's so much to be said about how much work you put into it. Like, me and you both play guitar, right? I don't really play. I mean, I don't know how good you are.
Yeah, I played a lot in high school, but like I was never great.
Now, I noticed one thing with guitar. I was playing with my roommate a lot, right? Because when he was still living there. So we would chill and play together a lot. And, you know, sometimes 2 hours every other day for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I never studied comedy like that, but I got extremely good at the guitar.
Yeah,
Like from doing just honestly 2-3 weeks, 2 hours every other day.
Yeah.
So I started doing comedy like that, which I've been slacking off, but I think it's what you put into it. Like these people that have nothing going on now, look at them. They're just getting drunk and smoking weed places.
I know. Dude, also with like guitar and comedy, like when you are playing with someone or around people who are better than you.
Oh,
that
yeah.
is huge, dude.
That's huge,
Dude,
too. You're right.
That's what I always say. Like, you never want to be the funniest person in the room.
Yeah.
Like, I always like being on shows with like people who are funnier, you know, who are gonna kill harder, because it makes you work harder. And there was a point, you know, people would probably disagree, but like there was a point in Boston where like me and some of my buddies, Anjan, Sam, who were all like, we would do a show, and when we started running our shows, we would always be like, oh, we need like a big experienced comic, a veteran to like close it out. Then after a few years, we're like, oh, dude, we're going to do just as well, if not better, than most of these guys.
Yeah, I remember doing your guys' show. You guys all killed.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're like some of the best people on the lineup, no matter who we book, you know?
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, time to go to New York to see what it's like. And, dude, even if you're not killing it in terms of the, like, you're not in at all the clubs, you're not doing that, even just being here, doing the mics, you immediately get better.
Yeah.
And you might not even notice it. But like even after being here for like a year and a half, I went back to Boston and I did a couple shows up there, and I was like, oh, now I see it, dude. Just 100%. Like your timing, the writing is tighter, because you only get a mic here, you might get 3 minutes,
and even
so it's got to be tight.
Like, dude, those mics, you get real comics in them, and even like the shows, like when you're in New York, you never know who's next. You're just on a lineup with 7 comics.
Yeah,
dude, I just was at Broadway. And I want to say it was Broad. I could have the club wrong because I've been bouncing around. But either way, I just hear every time the door opens, dude, I just hear, ah, and the door closes for drinks. The door opens again, ah, it closes. I'm like, bro, this is insane.
Who was it?
And they're like, you're next. And I'm like, bro, are you sure I'm next? They're like, yeah, we're going to have another comic go, but they're not here. So, I'm like, I'm sorry, what was that? Dude, killing. Open up the door, just straight killing. Last 10 minutes, applause breaks, everything. It was Marina Franklin.
Wow.
And I'm like, bro, I got to go up right now. Like, and the cool thing with that was the crowd was so hot. I went up. Yeah. I was like, hello. These motherfuckers were like, yeah, you know. Yeah. Because she probably smoked it for 20 minutes. Like you get back to back like Mike Vecchio, Marina Franklin, these killers, man. Fucking, what's that one dude? Kevin Brennan, you ever see? Yeah, bro, he's a destroyer, bro.
Rips. I do like, I like following. I mean, it's not great, but it's like when you're like, I love working out. I love like getting like a real good workout. That's what like following a killer comic is like. It might not
put you on your toes.
It's gonna probably be bad while you're doing it, but at least like you're gonna be like, I got stuff out of that.
And there's something to be said about, there's some things even like a killer comic, but then when you get a killer comic that isn't just doing jokes, like a Godfrey or somebody like that, it's almost like this shit might be unfollowable. Yeah. It's like,
well, they say, right? There's a difference between someone who can headline and a headliner.
Oh,
like,
there's
a different, like a lot of us can do an hour, but not everyone's a headliner, you know?
Like that's why I don't, I'm kind of laying in the pocket because I could, like we just said, there's comics that are at the Cellar that honestly probably aren't, they're probably the weakest comics at the Cellar, but they're there, you know?
But they're there.
I wouldn't want to be in that position. I would want to be better before I'm in a position to where I can't really work out. Like at the Cellar, I'm not trying a new joke. Like, Well,
once you're in there, dude, too, like then.
I don't think I ever would. That club's so fucking... That club's so tight with it. Yeah. I feel like your first 5 years you have to kill. You're not into you're there 10 years.
You got to kill for 5 years, and then they're like, okay, you can try a new joke.
I really feel like that. I think you got to really be a killer for the longest there.
Yeah. What was I going to say about what we were just talking about with headliners?
Headliners, people could headline. And some people,
dude. Yeah. I had to, speaking of following people, I think I've talked about this before, but I had to follow when we were doing 7th Street. Aaron Berg came.
Oh, yeah, I was going to bring up Berg.
And, dude, and all I've heard about him is, like, how hard of a follow he is, all this shit. And he goes up and, like, I wasn't supposed to go after, but we were like, next comic wasn't there or something. So I was like, okay, I'll go up after him. Dude, he just destroyed in this room for 30 people, 40 people. And then I went up and it was just like, as I'm standing there, just explosions of laughter. And I was like, no, fuck, dude, this is, but it's also a good thing because you're like, this is work, dude.
One thing I learned following him, I followed him a couple times. The first time I followed him, I made the biggest mistake you ever want to make following him, which is doing crowd. You don't do crowd work after a master of crowd work goes up. It's like,
to match their energy.
You
Sometimes
never will.
The best way to follow someone like that is
do the
like
opposite.
I've seen someone like a low energy guy go up and destroy following a high energy guy. Because it's like
you
different.
can't do the same thing.
Yeah.
But especially when it comes to crowd work, like I would never try to do crowd work after Judah or somebody. Like,
Rips.
It's like, how are you going to do that? I tried doing that with Berg. Dude, I did 13th step or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's just when he had his baby, he shows up. I tell everybody this story because I've never witnessed any kill like this in my whole life. A guy, Aaron was doing crowd work with this guy in the front, and the dude's rolling, falls out of his chair from laughing, right? And then Berg, he had to go first because he just had his baby. He's like, hey, I got to get home to my child. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna go first. I was like, dude, I can't do 7 minutes before you. You don't got time. Like
I can't do a quick tight 7, dude. I'll do 5.
I'll do
cut
5,
my time.
please. Dude, so he goes up, literally annihilates for like 20 minutes. They leave him up there because he's annihilated. He was like meant to be the headliner or whatever.
Yes.
So he was like the big paycheck of the show. So, they left him rocking. A dude fell out of his chair. And they tell me, hey, we're just going to have you do a quick 5 because we got a couple people on the lineup. He's like, I'm bringing you up right now. And, dude, he brings me up. Next comment, give it up for Dom. And then runs off the fucking stage. Dude, this guy's picking up. Shit fell out of his pockets. He's still on the ground picking shit up. Shit keeps, every time something fell out of his pockets, the crowd laughed more. It's like,
oh, my God.
So then, dude, so I'm talking to the guy because he's front row on the ground laughing. Yeah. And I'm like trying to do crowd work. I did something that I was doing LOL a lot. He was the only black person in this whole club. 100 people. He's the only black person.
Yeah.
So what do? A racist black joke, dude. Everybody turns on me. I get the light. It was done. I couldn't even get one joke off.
Oh my God.
But then he plays, I run into him a couple of times. I have to follow him. I feel like the biggest thing when I follow somebody like that, I do my jokes and I stay confident in my jokes. And after about 3 or 4 minutes, the crowd starts coming around to you.
Yeah.
But I will never do crowd work after a crowd work guy.
Yeah, no, it's a mistake.
Especially a dirty crowd work guy. Then I would do clean jokes. Like my benefit of Broadway is when you get a lot of dirty comedians and then you could do a squeaky clean set, they get sick of hearing dick jokes.
Yeah, they do, dude. People want... That's what they say, like diversity in a lineup. It's not diversity of the way people look. It's diversity of the voices. It's diversity of the content.
The content is
that
so much.
is a good lineup.
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered.
We haven't used those in a while.
Yeah. No, it is the content. I have some old school jokes that when I first started, I didn't like them because I felt like they were so original, people couldn't wrap their head around it, Like, that's what I really...
Yeah. How many times, dude, when you're like a year in, you're like, people don't just get me.
Yeah.
They just don't get it. And then you look back and you're like, oh, no, that was a bad joke.
Yeah,
There's
or
no
it was
punchline
like,
there.
That joke was missing something. But yeah. Most of the time, it's like that joke was missing something.
They don't understand my humor.
There's been so many jokes that I've had that I got them to work, though. But yeah, most of the time it didn't work. But, I feel like some of them, you make a little adjustment 7 years later, and you're like, holy fuck.
What a killer
It's
joke.
like you just switch 2 words, you know?
Dude.
It's something I live by now.
Yeah. Dude, I don't even know if this is embarrassing to say, but I have one joke. That joke about CVS and the Dr. Scholl's.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I wrote that joke a year into comedy. And I had it in a notebook. I tried it twice. It never worked. It has changed. It was way different than what it was. And then I brought it back when I was year 4 or 5, changed it, put it away for a while, and now I'm telling it again at year 10.
Yeah.
And it's a totally different joke, but the idea is still the nugget of what I wrote when I was like my first year in comedy.
Yeah, I need to go back to not really watch another comedian. I fell down this rabbit hole when you see somebody killing, doing like a Spanish impression or something, or you see that and you're like, fuck, I want to kill like that. But then it's like, that's their thing. Mm-hmm. You can't do their thing.
You got to be yourself.
And they're going to go up, and what, you're going to do the same thing after this motherfucker?
Yeah. You're like, hey, ever been born and raised in Guatemala? They're like, what?
That was my biggest, one thing about Guatemalan parents is, hold on, ChatGPT, tell me something about Guatemalan parents real quick. That was my biggest probably fall off in comedy. When I first was in Ohio, I was so original because there was nobody to watch. I did shows at the fucking pizza place.
Dude, you know the stereotype about Guatemalan people?
They climb trees.
Is that what it is? No, they're short.
Oh, really?
Guatemalan people are short a lot of times. Like, dude, I've done that. I've had this like with a bunch of different women. Like, you meet people and I'm, talking to them, and it has come up. They're like, where do you think, like, we're visiting? And I'm like, oh, where are you from? And they're like, oh, guess. And I like look, and they're like 5 foot. And I'm like, Guatemala? And they're like, how did you know? And I'm like, yeah, I know. Guatemala, dude.
I worked with a Guatemalan dude for like a year straight at this bullshit construction job. The owner was a crackhead, but this Guatemalan dude, we did like, it was more landscaping than construction all around Long Island and shit. So pressure washing, landscaping. But I worked with this dude every day. Like, I drove, I had a license and shit. Yeah. And he'd tell me his stories from Guatemala. He'd always show me his teeth, because he like had good teeth. He got them done in America or something. Yeah. And he would tell me the same story about his backyard was like woods, and they had like a banana tree or something. Yeah. And this monkey would steal his bananas. And he'd tell me how he climbed up the trees. Like, I always curse at the monkey since I was a kid. And he's like, I yell at the monkey. I say, I'm going to get you, monkey, And then he's like, one day I climbed the tree. One day I come 6 feet up on the tree. And then one day, and then he tells me he gets all the way up on the tree and grabbed the monkey and killed it. He's
my God.
He was like 20 years old. And he was like, that's when I knew I could move to America. I'm like, bro, he told me the story.
What an origin story,
dude. Would tell me the story once a week. Dude, I'm like, I know the monkey you killed, right?
Oh, that guy shouldn't be landscaping. He should be running for office,
He'd climb trees at work. I'd be like, bro. I'd be like, man, if you get hurt, I'm not going to do all this work
We
myself.
don't got workman. I love that you're like, you don't have workman's comp. You're like, I'm not lugging trees alone, dude.
You think I'm going to do this shit?
Dude, I've told you this. I worked landscaping in college, the summers
job,
and shit. Dude, it was what made me go to law school. Because I was sitting there 100 degrees. Dude, there was one point, like, I was on this. It was like 105 degrees. I was like, it's too hot. We got to stop. Yeah. Dude, and I'm like lugging shit around mulch. We were spreading mulch, and that also
stinks.
Heat comes off of
fucking little wood all in your socks.
Dude, it's 100 degrees. We're dumping mulch, and then you just get hit. It's like an oven, And I remember there was this big bush, one of those big bushes that you can like go in, So we're like in it spreading mulch, and I'm in there by myself, dude. I literally at one point I just sat down and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I sat there for like 15 minutes, and then I was like, this sucks. I got to go to law school.
Do you remember what year it was roughly?
2010, 2011.
What was the pay rate back then? Do you remember
what
you got for all that work?
What I was getting.
Dude, I landscaped in Ohio. That was my first real landscaping
Probably a
job.
few $100 a week. I was a college kid.
It really is. Yeah. Dude, I was getting $6.25 an hour to landscape in Ohio. Yeah. Dude, we'd wake up.
I might have been getting 10 an hour. It was also my uncle's company, so he might have given me a little.
I had to be at the garage at 6 a.m. to load up the truck.
Dude, 6 a.m., we leave the shop at 6:30.
Yeah.
So I was getting there at like 5:50. I was waking up at 4 a.m. during my summer vacation.
Right. Oh. Yeah, dude. Then you're going home at 7 o'clock at night. You have just enough time to shower and go to bed.
Dude, I literally would get home. I would eat something, shower, and go to bed. I was asleep at like 7:30.
Those jobs have a few type of people. There's that one old dude that they just let him do what
Yes,
he wants.
dude. Yeah.
You know, they get it. He's old, you know.
So spot on, dude.
And then there's the one young guy that kind of knows the owner, that kind of gets away with being lazy or whatever. Like he's just there to tell on people, you know, I feel like. Then there's that one dude that just was a fucking prisoner, got nothing going on in his life, smoking cigarettes, all ripped up, made tons of mistakes. He just wants coffee and to just get through the day quietly.
Dude.
And then, a couple high school, college kids.
Dude, there was one dude, coolest guy on this team. And I don't even know if I should tell this, but fuck it, whatever.
Come on, now you got
He was like the coolest dude on the crew, and they used to make jokes. Like he wasn't. I don't know if he had his green card or he overstayed his green card or something. But like the dudes on the crew, like who for a while like wouldn't even talk to me. Like the first 2 weeks they would only speak Spanish around me. And I would get stuck on there, and then like they found out I could work. Like I actually knew what I was doing.
They
like,
thought you were a lazy white guy.
They're like, oh, it's boss's nephew. Like he don't do shit.
It's a common stereotype, just being white.
Dude, and then they would be like, okay, carry these stumps, and I would be like, okay, and I'd throw it on my back and chug up the hill, dump it.
Yeah.
And they
Got
were
that
like,
Viking strength.
dude, I remember the one guy going, he goes, you don't carry logs like a white guy. And I was like, what does that mean? He goes, some of these guys, they hug it. They like bear hug it. He goes, you put it on your back and you go.
Yeah.
That's the right way to do it. He goes,
that's cool.
you don't carry it like a white dude. And I was like, all right. And then they started talking to me. I left, dude. They were like, when's Dylan coming back? My uncle's telling me. He's like, they're asking about you. But I remember this one dude, I guess, like had some immigration issues, but he still worked there. And he like fucking, they used to make jokes. We were working at like someone's house where they had all these dog kennels set up. Yeah. And like he's like in this dog kennel, and the guys are like, oh, he's immigration. And I'm like, I don't get it. What? Dude, I leave. He gets deported like 2 years later.
Wow.
I was like, oh, damn, dude. He was the coolest guy. Like the coolest guy. Also, I remember another dude used to go home for lunch, and like I was like, he's definitely having sex with his wife. Like on his lunch break. You can't blame him. You know? You can't blame him. He would always go home for lunch, and then he'd come back with a big smile on his face, and I was like, yeah.
It was either that or he was smoking weed.
Yeah, those were some cool dudes.
Even in New York, like now it's a little easier, but restaurants for the most part, they'll hire like a really attractive, maybe gay man to be a waiter or something like that. Like at these high-end restaurants, or like a real pretty
hot
girl.
hostess.
Right.
Gay waiters.
And the waiters aren't
success.
doing anything like at those types of restaurants. It's not, they're not bringing you the food. There's a food runner. There's a busboy, a food runner.
Yeah, they take your order.
Right.
They smooze you.
They smooze you. They give you the little smile, and then that's it. So, and they make the most
upsell you
money.
on the wine.
You know, I'm not the waiter guy, right? Like they seen me when I show up. So I could not get a job. When I moved to New York, I thought it would be so easy to get a restaurant job.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I knew a guy that lived here, you know, and he was just a good-looking guy, I guess. He was like, yeah, I'm waiters at any steakhouse. I get hired. You get hired in New York all the time. Yeah. I didn't realize the stereotype
You also have to be a model.
Yeah, you got to be a model, right? So I'm going everywhere trying to get hired, dude. I moved here with the idea of I'm just going to get a job. I didn't have nothing planned. Yeah. Dude, so I'm like, all right, the first couple of weeks is hard. Dude, it's 2 months now. I ran out of money. I'm like, I can't get dude, even McDonald's wouldn't hire me. I'm like, this shit's getting crazy. So now I'm fucking begging for anything, dude. I was like, I didn't want to be like a busboy or anything.
Yeah.
Because I seen how hard that shit is.
Brutal.
So I was like, fuck it. I was like, let me try to be a busboy. They hire anybody for that. Then the stereotype comes into play. People would straight tell me in my face, you can't work. You're not going to work like some European guy that runs the restaurant. Yeah. You're lazy, white American lazy. You know, you're not going to work. Funny. Everywhere I go, they wouldn't hire me. Damn. So, dude, I started going up to places, legit. Me work. No English, me work.
Oh, dude, my God.
Got hired, second place I went to. Is that crazy?
Holy shit.
Got hired, second place.
And then you show up and you're like, hey, how's it going? I'm Dom.
I'll take it a step further. I didn't have black pants. He's like, do you have black pants? I was like, no. He goes, here's $20. Go to H&M. They have black pants for $14 on the second floor.
Oh,
I should have
my
known
God.
that this restaurant was a piece of shit.
Holy
it was called Tonic
shit.
East. I don't know if you know about it.
No.
It was ran by four guys from other countries. They put their money together and have this restaurant. Yeah, it was a Rico thing. So it was a crazy sports bar, dude. The fucking Knicks would come there and hang out with their girls, straight up. Yeah, man. We weren't allowed to talk to them. But rooftop bar, you see the Empire State
Holy
Building.
shit.
Beautiful. Hookah bar on the top floor. Jimmy Fallon would walk by all the time. It was like right in that neighborhood. He used to live over there. But, dude, the hardest job I ever had in my life, right? And I'm waiting to get paid. I'm telling them, pay. He goes, next week. And the waiters are like giving me $3. They're telling me, yeah,
Tipping
it was
out
a
the
slow
busboy.
night. Yeah. And so I'm leaving with $3, $9, right? So, dude, after about 3 weeks or a month, I go like, hey, man, I dropped the accent and everything. I was like, look, man, I need my fucking money. You guys haven't paid me. What the fuck? I'm not touching another thing. I came to get my money here today. I'm getting paid today, or we're going to have a problem. I don't know if we got to call the cops or what. And I had all my stuff logged down from when I worked. He's like, what, you speak? He had no clue I knew English.
Hilarious, dude.
This is a 100% true story. So, and I'm out in the place. I don't know if I can get in trouble, but it's true.
No, who gives a shit,
So,
dude? Unless you're going to tell me you like tried to burn it down.
No,
you
so
know?
dude, I'm like, look, I need my fucking money or we're calling the police. You can't, this isn't free labor. I've been here 1 month. I haven't got paid. He's like, what, the bus boys pay? I'm like, they give me $2 a night. I was like, I need some fucking money. So he gives me a check for like $550. Still way underpaid me, right?
Yeah.
He goes, don't tell those Mexicans that I gave you this.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
dude.
I quit on the spot. I took my money and left. I knew I was never getting another $1 out of him.
Wow, dude.
Yep. There was one guy who's telling me like they would give him fruit. I still tell the story. They would pay this guy in fruit. Like I'll never forget.
You like
dude.
apples?
Yeah. And well, I'm showing him. He's like, no, I like the fruit. He's like from Africa, and he was like the French African.
Yeah.
And he's like unbuttons his shirt, and he had a little fruit dish on his shirt. Dude, he
Like a
loved
tattoo?
No, it was like a fucking fruit, like a shirt with fruit on it.
Oh,
And he just loves fruit, dude. Tierno was his name.
a Tierno. Dude, that's so
I was like,
fun.
you got to get money. He was like, no, I like the fruit.
Fruit is good.
He's like, pineapple.
A fruit is good.
Yeah.
I'll take it the fruit.
He's telling me fruits I didn't even know.
Guava.
Yeah, them dragon ones.
Oh, dragon fruit.
Papaya. But they paid this dude. He would leave with tons of fruit.
Holy shit.
And you know what
that's
the
so
fruit
funny.
he was leaving with? I found out was the fucking old bar cuts from the cherries and shit. Just wet ass fucking fruit that everybody had their hands in.
He's like, is that an olive in
He
there?
wouldn't quit. I'm like, dude, I'm quitting. You got to quit because we were
yeah.
both saying how we were never getting paid.
Dude.
I'm like, they're not going to pay you.
He's getting fruit salad. It's just leftovers from the bar top.
These were
Oh
the
my
shittiest
God.
people I ever met, dude. I was on the 4th floor catwalking. I could have been killed for this, And he had me taking the flags out, the American flags, because they were mad about something, and putting their Irish flags in. I'm pretty sure it was all Irish people there on the bar.
What's the
right?
bar called?
Tonic East.
Is it still open?
I don't know. We should go have a drink sometime.
we
See
should,
if they're
dude.
open. I'd see Jimmy Fallon walking by.
I'll look it up. Dude, that's the thing. When you're like famous like that, everybody likes a dive bar. Tonic East.
Yeah.
East.
All the girls were like
see.
Australian, gorgeous.
Yeah, dude, still open.
Let's go. Fuck it. I should go there and have a drink.
411 3rd Ave.
Yeah.
It is Kips Bay.
Yeah, dude, I should go there.
Oh, dude, I've seen this place.
Yeah. That's if you want to see the
This
Knicks,
is it?
that's where they go. Yeah.
Wow.
They go to the rooftop. It's a hookah rooftop. It's like real bougie. Like the drinks are a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, dude, this does not look like a sports bar. This looks like a bar I would never walk into.
Yeah, it's a little looks upper class, but
Yeah,
it's a piece of
if
shit.
you're watching, look up Tonic East NYC.
Yeah.
Big neon letters that say Tonic.
Yeah, I remember one time I literally accidentally bumped into like one of the Knicks players, my elbow, like I'm grabbing glasses. It's busy.
Fired immediately.
All I did was say, hey, I'm really sorry. And he was like, it's cool. And the bouncer was like, wouldn't let it go that I
Don't
talked
talk
to
to
him.
them.
Yeah. He's like, do not talk to him. I told you I met a girl there. I'm probably out myself on this. There was a Jewish girl that lived across the street. She'd go every day and drink, right?
It's a problem.
And I was this busboy with a fake accent. I kept it going the whole time.
Oh my God.
I
dude.
just had the accent the whole. I'd say, "Me no trouble." Nobody knew what I spoke, right? Nobody. They didn't know. They'd be trying to speak Spanish to me. I'm, no, I don't know. They probably just thought I was dumb, And this girl ends up talking to me, and she's like, where do you live? And I'm the Bronx. I live the Bronx, because I did,
Yeah.
So she's coming in all the time, gives me her phone number. She's a wedding photographer, I guess. She lives across the street. I end up going over there, And, I see her like 3 times with this accent,
No.
And then I started to like the girl, man. Pretty Jewish girl. And
You
I
still had the accent going.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
my
I tell her,
God,
I
Dom.
go, I was like, hey, I was kind of just joking with the accent for the job there,
I have to do it so I get hot. So I got
Yeah.
hired.
And she was so furious, not even about the lie, but she's like, I thought you were just a scrub from the Bronx, some dirt poor, like Mexican or immigrant from the Bronx.
Oh, my
She
God.
goes, I don't want to date just some white guy. She's like, so what are you, Jewish? She thought I was Jewish too. She's like, are you lying
No, I'm
to me?
Italian.
I'm like, yeah, I'm Italian. She's like, it's the same thing. You guys. She goes, you guys are all fucking white. And dude, she's full blood Jewish.
Oh my God, dude. And
Yeah.
you're like, well, I am dirt poor from the Bronx.
That
I mean,
was
what do you
her
mean?
Kink. It was like her kink to like do it.
That's so funny, dude.
And she do have me do weird shit over there too. She'd have me do work and payment.
Odd jobs,
Yeah,
dude.
like she'd
She's
be like,
oh, how does this roof seem?
She asked me, she's like, clean my kitchen for me. I really did it. And she paid me like $25.
She's like, how does it feel to be inside? That's your payment.
Yeah.
It's nice, right?
And she was like, that was a turn on to her.
Oh my God, dude.
Wild,
Holy
wild,
shit.
crazy girl.
That is crazy.
Crazy girl.
Dude, what are you doing for the 4th?
I might go to a comedy party. I didn't get invited. I got secondhand invited, so I want to hit them up. You know how these things are all word of mouth.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I don't like going to these,
Unless you get the okay from the host.
Even if I do, it's like, dude, I've been in comedy so long. I'm long in comedy.
Yeah.
13 years in New York. You come across people you just don't like anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's a
Yeah.
handful of people that I'm just like, you're a piece of shit. You're fake. I don't even want to see you for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
So that's why I
fair.
avoid a lot of these parties. But I might go to this one, and if I see somebody I don't like, I'm tired of hiding it. I'm gonna be like, bro, look, man, I'll be real with you. You're a
I
fake
hate you,
motherfucker.
dude.
I don't like you. You don't need to talk to me no more.
Yeah.
Cuz. Like, we good
So
on that.
funny.
We're good on talking.
Oh my God.
I'm getting too old for this bullshit.
I'm getting too old for this bullshit.
I don't got time
What's
for
that?
these some of my bitches.
What is that, Lethal Weapon? I'm getting
Oh,
too
yeah, that is what it
tired and
is.
old for this
I'm getting
shit.
too old for this shit.
Yeah.
I just seen a movie, Steal Lethal Weapons, count of 3 thing. On 3, or do we go 1, 2, 3, then go, or
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, go? I forgot what movie it was. I'm like, yo, y'all can't be stealing from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I mean, it's too iconic.
Bro, did you see? I just seen this movie where 90% of the TikTok jokes came from. I can't. If we would have watched this movie, we'd all be famous on TikTok. Now
Really?
it's old. It's called The Worst Movie Ever. National Lampoon's Most Offensive Movie Ever.
Really? I never heard of it.
Dude, if you watch it, every single big TikTok trend from like 2019 on
Is
to
all that
2022
movie.
is the whole movie.
Damn.
Every line in the movie is a TikTok trend, and it was made in like 2008 or
Holy
something.
shit. That's
Yeah,
wild.
every line, dude.
That's
every
so funny.
every big thing, like that one where they're like the guy walks in with the chicken and he's like, "I'm about to make love to a pig," and she's like, "But you're holding a chicken." He's like, "Yeah, I'm talking about you," or something like that.
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah.
was in the movie. It's all these hacky jokes. They put them all
So
together.
funny.
Yeah,
That's so
The
good.
sperm donating one, like you get $100 for donating sperm. I'm getting 20 for plasma, and it's a girl.
Yeah.
She's like, "You're lucky." And then they sits down again, and he's like, "Oh, plasma again," and she's like, "No." That was a TikTok
That's
thing.
a funny bit,
Yeah, it's
dude.
all the TikTok shit.
It's so dumb, but so funny.
I just had somebody complaining to me about who I think is a hard worker, and I'm so happy she got success. But Sarah Cooper, I don't know if you ever watch her. I think she's writes a lot, works hard, cool person, funny comedian.
Yeah.
But she got huge in the pandemic for lip syncing Trump speeches.
Oh, yeah, I've seen her.
And a comic's like, how the fuck somebody even get famous? They're still mad
So
about this
funny,
5
dude.
years later. But dude, you think of the creativity and everything of what she was doing.
Kind of the effort and the
The
time that it
perfect
takes.
storm,
Yeah.
and she did them good. And TikTok was, at that point in time, TikTok was only supposed to be like a lip type of app for the majority of it.
lip-syncing
That's
kinda
what it
app.
was.
Yeah, dancing, lip syncing. Yeah.
And dude, either way, she got a lot of fame from that, like in that
So
era.
funny,
I think
dude.
she got a show on Netflix. Remember?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But people think it's just from that. They don't realize she busted her ass for like 10 years doing comedy before she got any of that.
I know.
Like she had a #1 book out and shit. Like, but people will be like, yeah, she did one thing lip syncing on TikTok.
So
fucking
funny,
Netflix.
So funny.
Fucking Netflix. I can't stand when you're hanging out with a comedian. They think it's like a race thing. They'd be like, and obviously she just got Netflix because she's black. And it's like, bro. Relax a little bit.
Yeah, use that in your apartment only.
And then
know?
you do some research, and it's like, and she wrote this movie and put it in 5 film festivals, and she found people to raise the money. And after 10 long years, Netflix bought it.
Dude,
that dude will still be like,
yeah, well,
she was black.
Well.
I wrote a movie too. Oh yeah,
dude, that's one of my favorite stories about Childish Gambino, Donald Glover.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Community,
And he was a
30
hard
Rock.
worker, bro.
Dude.
Creek in the Cave originally putting on his own shows.
Yeah. So they say
shows.
like, you know, oh, overnight success. He was an overnight success. He like got seen and immediately became famous. Like got an offer and was right. But the thing is, dude, he had like, so he was seen doing stand up and they were like, hey, you're super funny. Send me your packet. And there were 2 ways you could have done it. You know, he could have been like, what's a packet? I don't have one. Or what he had like 2 or 3 scripts written. He had a full packet and like sent it that night and was like, here you go. And they were like, shit, okay. This guy can write. He's funny. Come on in. And he got hired for 30
So
Rock.
much about being prepared. I had a thing when I was from Old Man Hustle. An audience member at Old Man Hustle could have been talking shit. I don't know. They had a play on downtown, like somewhere at the duplex or something. They had some long running play that was bouncing around. Either way, he ended up at Old Man Hustle. He goes, hey man, you're funny. Do you have anything you could send me as a comedy writer? We're putting on a show. We're hiring comedy writers. I had nothing. Like he's like, can you just come up with something and send it to me like tomorrow morning? Dude, it's like you just can't do that.
Yeah.
So
you got to be ready.
As soon as I lost that opportunity, I wrote 2 movies. Like every Sunday I even met up with a guy that professionally writes novels to have him help me like with the storyline and all this stuff. And we worked it out over a year. It took me. Nothing happened with the movies for years, right? I had them. Then I ended up saying, okay, let me shoot a little teaser. And that's that movie Billis. Yeah. Bro, when I tell you how surprised when I go out for drinks in Little Italy with these people from Paramount and we're just talking about what we got and the actors, because I'm in the movie that's that Avenue U movie. Mm-hmm. They go, yeah, well, anyways, do you have anything? And when I go, oh, yeah, I do. And it's right here. What's your email? And they're like, oh, you have, yeah, send me your, here, actually, let's just watch it on my phone. Dude, I had it right there on YouTube. Yeah. People cracking up watching it.
That's great.
Instant deal.
Hell yeah.
It's like, all right, we're going to make this. We want to do this right now.
I love that.
It was advice I got from John Laster, too. He warned me early on. He goes, hey, man, you got to have something ready. Yeah. Have something wrote because people are going to approach you one day. Mm-hmm. I didn't listen to him, dropped the ball. And now I'm like, dude, I want 3 or 4 things wrote. Yeah. I want it all.
I have a couple scripts that I wrote early on in comedy and like when I was in law school. I have like 2 scripts. One is kind of a spec script, but like it started as like more of like a fanfic script, but it could be an original. And then one that I really like that is kind of not great for a pilot because it relies on other, you know, it kind of is like it's kind of like takes like a little bit of Breaking Bad. So you kind of have to almost like understand that Breaking Bad was a show for it to work. Oh, but it's kind of like it's this idea like it could almost be like an Always Sunny spec script, but it's like different characters obviously. But it's like roommates watching a Breaking Bad marathon up till like 6 a.m. One of them like wakes up and is like, "Have you guys been doing this all night? What the fuck?" And then like 2 of the guys being like, "We should just do this and cook meth. Like this is the way to make money." And then it's just kind of that's the pilot.
Yeah, Breaking Bad meets Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Well, it's a sunny day out here.
Yeah, let's wrap. I got to do some work, and then I'm going to the Mets game,
Let's do
baby.
it. I got to cheat on my taxes, too. I should have did an extension. I got 5 years. I met an accountant. He's like, you give me $1,500, I'll keep you out of jail.
Wow.
I know a guy, just got his revoked. He's not allowed to leave the country. Cruise ship comic, because he's $80,000 in tax debt. Only $80,000 for never paying taxes.
That's not
He's
bad.
like 40. I'm like, how could you only be $80,000 in debt?
That's crazy.
He's like, I just never fucked with no tax type shit like that.
Jesus,
Keep
dude.
it real with you, man. I ain't never fucked no type of tax shit.
Oh, that's so crazy,
some bullshit, man.
That's so insane.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Know what I mean?
Know what I mean?
Be some bullshit in the motherfucker, man.
Oh,
Take my motherfucking money.
All right, dude.
Fuck out of here, man.
Fuck out of here.
Southside, bitch. Southside.
All right, give him your fucking plugs, dude. Let's get out of here.
Shit it is.
Shit it is.
Go get me a white bitch. All right, it's The plugs are Dominic Leonelli, guys. YouTube. Go on my YouTube. Try to do some shit.
Yeah, and sorry.
Instagram, Dominic Leonelli. I don't promote TikTok. TikTok fucking garbage.
Dom's details, baby.
Yeah, dude. It's Dom of NYC, but that app is so trash. I don't even know anything about it.
Follow me at Dylan Krasinski on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. I'm also posting more on my personal YouTube. It's mostly stuff
you got
I
two
just
YouTubes.
post on. Well, the Troublemakers YouTube is for
that's right.
But
Yeah.
like I post my own stuff, which is mostly, if you follow me on Instagram, it's the same shit. But
don't tell them that.
Well, some different,
Well,
some
people
specific.
don't. People don't jump apps. Like, it's cool you promote that. These people that watch us are on YouTube, so they'll probably check you out on YouTube.
Maybe, yeah. Look it up, maybe.
Check out
Dylan
Dominic
Krasinski.
Leonelli on YouTube. Before I got about 400 videos I gotta delete before we try to sell this special.
We have also all of our links are tagged in the description of every single video.
Oh yeah,
So,
but people ain't checking.
Got about 55 subscribers, 57 on YouTube, so
It jumps quick.
climbing, baby. But yeah, go follow me and go follow Dom. And new episodes out every Wednesday. We're posting a few clips every week, every episode. Have a good 4th of July. We'll see you next week, baby. Good night.